All right. Well, speaking of broadcast journalists, Piers Morgan.
Yeah. Speaking of, how about that?
So, Piers really put his YouTube show on the map with these raucous debates over Israel. I mean, he's obviously debates all kinds of stuff, but I really feel like those are the ones that brought a lot of people to that program. And Piers has mostly taken the side of Israel, not 100%. There have been times where he's objected to this or that, but broadly he's been very pro-Israel. And he had Medi Hasan on his show recently, and he said to Medi, you know what? Basically, you were right. I don't think that we disagree anymore. He even uses the word genocide in this context. Let's go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of that.
You and I have talked about this war in Gaza for ever since it started, this phase of the 75-year conflict. And I have resisted going as far as you have done in your criticism of the Israeli government. I resist no more. I think we've reached common ground about what we view is happening and has been happening through this period of this blockade, which frankly is just starvation of the people there, including so many innocent young women and children. And I think that the incessant bombing and killing, and we don't know how many civilians have been killed, but it is on a daily basis. It looks like hundreds of people every day, with no apparent attempt, it seems to me, to have any real plan for how this ends or what happens when it ends, other than if you look at what Smodrich has been saying, probably the most right-wing member of a very right-wing government, he is talking in a genocidal language about kicking all the Palestinians out. So I think you and I have reached a place in the last few weeks where we are in agreement. But my question for you, Mehdi, is how does this end?
What do you make of those comments, Ryan, and the timing of them?
I think Piers, because of his program, has had to follow this in an incremental way.
True.
And because he invites on people from all different walks of life, all different factions, all different perspectives, he has been exposed to the reality of what's going on. And I think anybody who's exposed to the reality of what's going on and isn't actively paid to take a certain position,
to just be propagandists, yes,
can only conclude that this is a unique crime against humanity that's being carried out. And so he said it. I don't know, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, as I said earlier, something about I think probably the months of starvation and the images that are coming out of these emaciated babies and, the risk of mass famine and mass death event because of how do you justify that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you can't say this is, targeted, no, we're going after Hamas when you are intentionally starving an entire population. And then when you see these images of the rubble and then they're bombing the rubble and with gruesome results, and they just, Smotrich and Netanyahu have just gone mask off at this point. They've taken the layers of Hasbara out and said, no, we want to ethnically cleanse them. We are going with the Trump plan. And even this piddly bit of aid that we might let in is just to enable further war crimes. If you're actually grappling with that, how can you say other than this is a horror, this is an atrocity? And how can you feel other than when we look at this a decade down the road or however long it is down the road, people are going to have to get asked very hard questions about what did you say, what did you do, where were you? So, I think there's a very belated effort to try to end up on the right side of history. And I will just say, for myself, I hope there's a real tracking of every journalist who enabled these crimes, every politician who enabled these crimes, every propagandist, every poster. I think it is critical that we look back and understand who justified these atrocities and enabled these atrocities and funded these atrocities and provided diplomatic cover for these atrocities. I think that's going to be absolutely essential. And so, yeah, listen, I don't want to, I'm glad to hear Piers say it. It's extremely belated, and I do think that there's a sense of oh shit, I better get on the right side of history for him, for some of these world leaders that are coming out and starting to make some noises as well.
Right, if you're behind Macron, it's taking you a while.
Yeah.
But I appreciated Mehdi's response, which he said, where he says, "Look, I wish I had been wrong.
Right.
You know, I wish that because if in October, November of 2023, the most wild, vulgar assessment of what Israel's approach was and was going to be turned out to almost underestimate what it was.
Right.
And there's no satisfaction in being right about that at all.
That's right.
It
No,
would
if
be
you
much
listen to
better to have been wrong and to have, you know, tens of thousands of people still alive and millions of people still in their homes, and a path
right.
toward peace and coexistence.
That's right.
Instead, we have this.
we have horror and the cold comfort of, yeah, I guess we were right. Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the most maximalist voices on October 8th, or if you went and talked to, you know, Daniela Weiss or some of these other settlers,
Right.
who, or, you know, Smotrich, they, a lot of, I mean, there were people in Israel right away who were saying what their plans were
But they've been saying that a long time, and they don't always get the reins of power and enact
to
it.
actually enact it. But if you would listen to them and taken that seriously from the beginning, then you would have had a much more accurate understanding versus the spin and the, oh, we're dropping leaflets, and oh, here's my presentation of how there's actually tunnels under this hospital, and oh, that wasn't even us that bombed the hospital. We would never bomb a hospital. It's almost quaint to go back and think about some of these things that were debated at the time and how we were told, oh, they would never do the most moral army on the planet. And now they don't even bother to really justify. You know, it's just so out in the open now.
Now they're saying, yeah, we're doing it and it's good.
Yeah, and we're getting away, and the world has let us do it. That's what Smotrich said.
Meanwhile, public enemy number one has become Ms. Rachel.
That's right.
She was the subject of this really bizarre New York Times article.
Deranged New York Times article.
Talk about it in a moment. She has not backed down at all, and so I think we have a recent clip that she posted a video with a double amputee Rahaf. Let's roll that.
Let's go back to sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired. See the bunny sleeping till it's nearly noon. Shall we wake them with a merry tune? They're so still. Are they ill? Wake up soon. Let's pretend to sleep. Wake up, little bunnies! Skip, little bunny, skip, skip, skip. Skip, little bunny, skip, skip, skip. Skip, little bunny, skip, skip, skip. Skip, skip, and stop. Let's hop again. Hop, little bunnies, hop, hop, hop. Hop, little bunnies, hop, hop, hop. Hop, little bunnies, hop, hop, hop. Hop, 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 and stop. Yay!
And the strangest element of this New York Times piece on her, and I'd like to do some reporting on this, try to figure out how this even got into the piece, is their forwarding of complaints by what they called an advocacy group, Stop Anti-Semitism.
Right.
It's not an advocacy group. It's like one unhinged person.
Twitter troll.
Yeah, who posts mostly anonymous nonsense and accused her of effectively being funded to support Hamas.
Right.
Which, that's what trolls can do. Like, the internet is filled with URLs that you can buy and you can make claims. It's very crazy for the New York Times to then take this and then report it as something that advocacy groups are saying, when it's not. Like, again, it's not an advocacy group. It's a nut. And then confront her with it and have her respond to this claim of whether or not she's being funded to support Hamas. And one of the pieces of evidence they forward from this Stop Anti-Semitism troll account is that for every one post about an Israeli child, she's put up 10 posts about a child in Gaza. It's like, well, that's wildly disproportionate in favor of Israel,
Right.
considering that there are 18,000 plus children who've been killed.
Right.
And it's not 10 to 1.
Right. And
It's not. It's like,
not to mention children like Rahaf, who are surviving. She's alive, and thank God well, I'm gonna have trouble talking about this. Was medically evacuated. Her brothers are still in Gaza. Her father's still in Gaza. You know,
Yeah.
Miss Rachel talked about this with Mehdi. Like, she's a double amputee. I mean, like I said, thank God she was medically evacuated. She's getting the care that she needs. But yeah, and the idea that the only way you could care about that and want to highlight that is if you're being paid by Hamas. Like, it's the height of insanity, of inhumanity, to be so disconnected from human emotions that you think the only reason someone might care about an adorable double amputee like Rahaf is because they're being paid by Hamas. Like, it's just insane.
There was another quote in that article towards the bottom that was quite wild. A person named Stacey Hackner, a teacher at a London Shader, said, quote, "Ms. Rachel seems to be someone who is really, really good-hearted, but in the context of everything that's going on, she says, I care about all children, but really, she's talking about the children of Gaza. That has left a lot of Jewish parents feeling quite isolated," which is, I think what's so startling about that quote is that I believe it is representing her authentic feeling. Like, she is genuinely hurt that Ms. Rachel is saying, I care about all children, and is talking about the children of Gaza. Mm-hmm. Like, that is, like, she feels that as painful and offensive.
Right.
And where do you go from there? Like, your only accusation against her is that she says, I care about all children, but really she's talking about the children of Gaza. And and it's just understood that there's something wrong with that.
Right.
That if you're talking about the children of Gaza, there's something wrong with that.
That they don't count as children, that they should be kept separate and apart, that if you're talking about the children of Gaza, you don't really care about other children.
Represents a view from a just startlingly dark place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.